Hello friends, welcome back to our channel TS Tech Mirror. This is part 6 of our Power Apps component framework series. In today's videos, we will see how we will do the development with React and Fluent UI controls inside Power Apps custom code components. In my last video, I covered the life cycle of the Power Apps control, where I also covered the default code present inside the index.ts file. So without any further delay, let's get started. So for today's videos, what I have done, I have created this 4 steps at a high level, which we are going to follow to learn how we can use React and Fluent UI controls inside Power Apps component framework project. So as a first step, what I will do, I will install the React and Fluent UI controls. Then we will create the component file, then the code logic inside the component file, and finally we will see how we can render the component. From now onwards in this particular video, there will be totally the hands-on part, nothing theoretical. So I will directly move to my Visual Studio Code. This is the same project which I have used in my last video as well as throughout this particular tutorial, and I will continue to use the same project. We will continue to enhance the code gradually. So in my last video, while I was explaining you the life cycle, I have used this default HTML element, but now onwards I will be using React and Fluent UI controls. So let's comment out this code. Instead of deleting, I do not need this input element. This I need, and I will comment this variable as well, and I will replace this both this line of code together, and after that I do not need all this. All these things I do not need. This dot context, and for now what I will do, I will comment out all the code present inside the init method, and then later on I will uncomment whatever is required. And similarly, I do not need this on change method, so for now I will delete it because we are not going to work with the HTML element. And inside get output also I will put the comment, and I think I am good. So what I have done, I have just commented out the code related to the HTML element or input element which I have created in my last video. I try to keep the minimalistic code required, mostly these two initialization for the context and notify output change, which I have explained in my last video as well. In case if you're watching this video directly, I will recommend you to watch the earlier videos as well, just to get the better context. So all the videos are present inside this PCF playlist. You can explore the playlist. Okay, now let's get with the code now. So as a first step, to use the React and Fluent UI control, I have to install both React and the Fluent UI. So what I have to do, I will copy this command from here and I will run it. This is the command. Over here what I am doing, I am installing React, React DOM and Fluent UI React control. These two things I am installing. After that what we will do, we will install the React typings, the IntelliSense which we need. So these two commands which we have to do, I will open my terminal using Ctrl-Tilt, or from here also you can open the terminal. Inside the terminal what I'll do, I'll copy npm install react-dom @fluentui/react. I'll press enter. It will take some time to install. This installation is completed. Now what we will do, we will run the second installation to install the typings file. This is also done. Meanwhile, this installation is in progress. What I will do, I will copy these two commands and I will paste them in one of the slides which we are creating as a consolidated list of all the commands over here in the second slide, and I will put each and every command over here, and by the end of this tutorial we will be having all the commands at one place, and it will be very useful for our future projects. I'll just update this, and this is also done. I'll go back to my slide number 16, and this is our project. So this installation is also completed. One more thing, this is our project name, my first PCF. You could see there's one more instance of Visual Studio Code open with me. This is one of the project which I have created, and I have kept it open in case I need some help with the code syntax. So please do not get confused, just focus on this particular project, my first PCF. So our installations are completed. Now React and Fluent UI control should be available inside this project. Now as a next step, we will see how we can start using them. So in the slide I have mentioned I will create the component file. So let's start create the React component. So if you are not aware about what are React components, React properties and React state, other very basics of React, there is a React tutorial plus specific to the SharePoint framework. I have created one video in so you can refer that video from the SPFX playlist. Also I will attach the link in that description box below. You can from there also you can watch that video will also help you a lot in understanding the basics of React. Over here I will not go into much depth of the React because that is the outside the scope of this particular video, but I will try my best to explain you as much as possible. Over here my focus is to make you understand how we can integrate React and Fluent UI control inside PCF project. So to create a component, what I will do, this is the top level folder. Inside this I will create another folder and I will name that folder as component or components, and inside that component I will create file for the React component, and what I am planning is I will name it as component1. I will just try to keep it as a simple name, component.tcx. So whenever you are creating a React component, just make sure the extension of the file is .tsx, not .ts. Component file, that means you can write HTML code inside the tsx file. If you will create only ts file, you will not be able to write or JSX control inside that. Now I will create another file for the React properties and I will name that file as I component1 props.ts. So what are properties? Properties are used to pass data in the React component or between the React components. So as a layman or as a basic term, just understand whenever I need to pass the data, I will use properties. So for that I have created one interface. Now let's go inside this. Now over here I am going to use the functional component, not class component, and I am going to work with the Fluent UI control. Which Fluent UI control I can use? For that I will go to the Microsoft Fluent UI control list. This is the link open at my end, and if you want to see how I reached here, so what you can do, you can type Fluent UI Microsoft. You will get this link, Fluent UI get started and controls. Now from here to start with, as you know, we have just started coding inside PCF. I will use a very simple control. I will try to go with this input control or text field control. So I will use this control, text field control, and over here these are the samples which it is being displayed over here. I will copy this code from here as it is. So this is what I usually do just to get a starting point, and then I will modify the code from inside this component. I will try to make it simple. I will paste everything as it is. Now this is done. So what over here is happened, there is a one called export. Export means this component would be available outside this file for me. Constant, this is one name. So I will try to make it simple. I will name it as again component1, fine, and react.functional component, because we are going to work with the functional components. And inside this I will get rid of all this. I do not need this much of code. As I've decided, I will try to keep it as simple as possible. I will get rid of this as well, and what I want is just one text field control. This is the text field control which I want. Label type, no, I don't need even the password. Can reveal password, all these things I will get rid of. I'll see what the type is also later on. I will keep it as blank just so that I do not forget. We will see what is present inside this type. So what I have done, this is one component file and this is the React Fluent UI control. How this is React Fluent UI, you can see the import at the top. In case you are planning to use any other control, how you are going to do that? What you can do, return, and let's say I want to use, over here there are so many controls. I want to use rating control from React Fluent UI, and I will use it, and the automatically it will get imported at the top. So this is the way, because I have copy pasted it, so I thought of showing you manually how usually it happens. So this is done. Now let's see the code from the top to bottom. This is the normal import. The moment you will start writing the code, these imports will automatically be done. I'm not using it, so I will get rid of it. This tag I'm not using it, I will get rid of it as well. Everything I will get rid of. And let me see where I've used it. I'm not using this as well, and nothing, I'm using it from here as well. So it is a very simple code now. Just to import one, whenever you are creating a React functional component, this is how you used to do react.functional component. Now I will be doing one thing over here. I want to create the properties if I need to pass the data. So what I will do, export interface I component1 props. This is my interface. That's it for now, because in 99.99% projects you need to pass this context from the index file to the component file. So for now what I will do, I will create this context over there just to pass it, and type I will get it from here. See, it's very simple to code if you will just follow the little tricks. Do not get confused what is the type, just copy it from here and put it here. This is the component, sorry, this is the context, this is the error, and I'll go to quick fix. Got it done. So I've created the properties. Now I want to bind this with my component one. So what I will do, I will say I have to define the type over here of this, and I will put it over here. Again I have to import it. So guys, if I will not put export over here, I cannot import it over here. So whenever you want to expose your code outside that particular file, just use the export keyword. This is done, and over here I will pass this properties. Now I can use all the properties from inside this interface over here, just like this. Props dot context is available for me. Let's still, it will not have the value because we have to pass it from the index file, that we will see. So this is done. My component file is done. I have created my component file. I have created my interface file. I have integrated both these files also. Now let's see what this type is. And to see, I will press F12, and it is saying it is of type string. This question mark means this property is not mandatory, so I will get rid of it. But for now I will get rid of this as well, because there are no predefined values for this particular property. So text field is done. We'll put on this placeholder, my first control. This is also done. Now let's go back to the PPT. Step 1 is done, step 2 is done, step 3 is also done. I have created this code logic inside this component file. Now let's see how we can render this component, because right now in my last video I covered, if you want to test the component how it is looking, what you will do, you will run npm start watch. This will open it in the local host. Let's see how my component is looking right now. And meanwhile I have to check if this particular command is present in my slide number 2, npm start watch. It is present, so I will move back to my slide number 16, today's slide. It will take some time, so then we will proceed. And just to give you a heads up, this is not the actual hands-on. This is just I'm using as a way to explain you the React and Fluent UI inside PCF. Demo would be completely separate. And after this placeholder, sorry, after this text field, I will be using one more component, one more Fluent UI control, just to explain you much better way. So let's wait for this local host to get load. So I can see this message, starting control harness. It is about to start. Watching files. Still it has not started the browser, otherwise it will automatically open the Edge browser. Yes, now it got loaded, and let's see what will come over here. Definitely this alert. Now I will close it, because in the background it will keep on watching this file and it will automatically refresh the browser whenever I will save anything over here. So definitely I'm expecting to see this alert. As expected, I can see this init, update view and other alert box, but no control is visible over here. So let's go back and see how we can render our control. And now I will put a comment on my alert as well. Otherwise it will be a bit irritating for us. Now this is also done. Now let's see how we can render our control. I will come over here and directly, so whenever you want to render your component, you will do it inside update view, because in init we are not going to do that. So init only initialization. After initialization we know our control will come to update view. So over here I will render my control. How I can do that? I will say react dot render or react dom dot render. This is done. Then over here you could see first is this element, so I'll say react dot create element. This is done. And inside the element, what I have to do, I have to pass my element. And what is my element name? Component1. That is my component, and I will select it. Automatically it will do the import at the top, component1. So that this is also done. Over here I have to pass the properties, because see over here what I have done, I have created a property, this property, and it is a mandatory one. So I have to pass it, and I will say context. I have passed the property as well. And over here what I have to do, I have to bind this control. So we know that for binding we have this default HTML div element, which I have assigned it over here. Let me do one thing. I have to uncomment this code now. Context I need to pass, okay, and I need one more thing, container also I need. So what I have to do, guys, because I need this container also, I have to bind my control to this container. So for that what I will do, I will create one underscore parent container of type HTML div element. Fine. And over here inside init I will say this dot underscore parent container is equal to the one which is provided by my init control container. So this is also done. And now over here I will say this dot parent container. So this is also done. And context also I can use it from here as well. In context I have to see what is the error I am making. So to check the error, just hover over it. It is saying quick fix and it is missing the import. Same with React DOM as well. So these two imports were missing. Using IntelliJ we fixed it. And just one thing is pending. I have to pass this property called context. This is also done, but with context it is giving me an error. So let's see. So to pass the property, what I will do over here, I will use this parenthesis, and inside this I can pass this context. So this is my property name over there, and this is the value which I will provide. What I can do, this is already initialized with me inside this init, and I will pass this. So what you have to do, react dom.render inside this react dot create element. If you will hover over it, you can see inside this it will ask for the element and then the container to which you have to append this. Using comma I have to pass this property, and then this dot parent container to which we have to append. So any control you will create inside this, if you are not using React, so directly you have to append it. If you are using React, you have to render your component and with this parent container. So now this is done. Now let's see one thing. Let's go over here and we can see, because in the background this is already running reloading browser. So I directly came to this browser and I can see this control. So this is how I can create using React and Fluent UI. This is my first control, because over here I have placed this placeholder inside my component file. Now I will show you how we can use this property, the context property which we had created, or my basic objective is to show you how we can pass this data from index file to this component file. Now if I go back to this index file, I could see I've already passed. I will go to this component file, and over here using these props I can use it. So what I will do, so this value is available, and over here what I will do, I can hard code any value. I can say ds tech mirror, fine. And if I'll do control S, already reloading browser, I will go, see I can see the value. But now let's see how we can use that context over here. So this is the property through which we have passed this context. Over here what I will do, I will remove this hard coded value and I will put this parenthesis and props dot. Now I got this context, and I can get my parameters. My parameter means the property which I have created inside this manifest file. This also I have covered in my last video. Dot sample property dot raw, and let's see. Now I will get the value of my sample property. Sample property is the name of the property which I have created over here. So it is coming new value over here because inside my value over here for the sample property, this is the value. So if I type something else, now both are binded. So what I can say my first control. You could see this is happening because we have used this property, or we have used this context. So just a quick recap what I have done. I have passed this context from here using properties. Inside this component, inside value, I have used properties.context.parameter.sampleProperty.raw. Now what I will do, I will create one more component just to show you one more control from here, and this time I will use the slider control. And let's see quickly, very quickly. This time I will create another file, and let's do one thing. I will copy this file and paste. Okay. Now rename this file. So this is how I used to code, just to save some time. Component 2. Inside this I will come over here, I will make it component 2. Everything else will remain the same. I will remove this text file and I will remove this property as well. I do not need property over here. I will get rid of this. I do not need this properties, and I will remove this control. What I need this time, I will not copy, just to give you one more example, and I will use another control, and I will use slider Fluent UI control. This is done. Nothing. I do not need anything, and this time I will simply go to the index file, and instead of this component 1, now I will render component 2. This component 2 does not need yes, so we have to import it, quick fix, and it does not need any property. That's why we are getting this error. I will get rid of this property and everything is done. I just refresh it and it started working. Code is the same, and you could see the slider control is working. UI wise it might not be looking intuitive. For that, what we can do, just go to this site of Microsoft Fluent UI, and from here you can copy the other code, other properties related to this. We can put value format and other things. So guys, this is how you can work with React and Fluent UI control inside PCF. So before closing this video, what I will do, I will have a quick recap. I have installed the React using this command npm install react DOM and Fluent UI React. After that, I have installed the typings file. Then I created this component folder. Inside this we can create n number of component. We have created 2 component today. Component 1 is this plain text box or input box. Component 2 is the slider control. Both are Fluent UI control. You have to, after installing, you have to simply type the control and automatically it will get imported at the top. In component 2, I do not need any properties or state anything, so it's a simple control I have used. In component 1, what I have done, I have shown you how you can pass the properties as well. For property, I have created one interface. over there I have created this context property and I have passed it, this is the type, and then I have passed it through the parameter. And then just to bind it, to render it, what you need to do inside this update view method, you need to write this code react dom.render, and you need to render your component. Now before I come to an end of this video, I will write the render code for first component as well in case you need it. So this is the component one, and this is how you will pass this property context dot this dot underscore context. This is for your sake. So guys, thank you for watching today's video. In my next video, what I will do, I will cover how you can debug and deploy this PCF component. Again, this debugging I will cover in two videos. In first video, I will cover debug and deploy, and in part 8 I will cover how you can debug using Fiddler and why you need Fiddler. And then we'll mostly we will come to an end and we'll start working directly on the advanced level demos. Guys, thank you for watching today's video. If you like this video, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel to get notification for our upcoming videos. Till our next video, much love, keep learning. Thank you.